Thank you. Welcome everybody to the Water and Sewer Utility Committee meeting of Thursday, June the 17th, 2021. Thank you everybody for coming. It's such a nice day, and we'd like to do the order of business, please. So we call to order. Any declarations of conflict of interest?
Nope.
None. Approval of the agenda.
Vote.
Moved by Councilor Bernard, seconded by Councilor McCabe. Adoption of the minutes from Wednesday, May 26, 21.
Moved.
Same as Mr. Councilor Bernard and Councilor McCabe. Any business arising from those minutes? Councilor Twill,
No.
anything? Councilor Bernard?
No.
No? Okay. Any new business? No, nothing new? Great. Everybody's so cooperative today following me. Let's go into the water fountain at Queen Street. Mr. McEwen.
Sure. Alice, did you want to?
I can, yeah, so just for start off, in the environment and sustainability 2021-22 capital budget, we have some funding for water fountains. We had 3 installed, or that will be installed in community centers, and we have about $21,000 remaining for an outdoor fountain installation. In the past, Downtown Charlottetown Inc. had approached the city about installing fountains within the downtown core, and they were willing to provide the fountains, cover the fee for the fountains themselves. Just recently, yesterday, I was talking with Don Allen, the executive director, and they don't currently have any budget for it in their budget to purchase the fountain, but we were discussing, and she may be willing to provide some funding. So I guess what we're looking for today with this report is council's approval of potentially putting a fountain within the Queens and Richmond intersection, and providing some funding from the utility budget to cover the additional costs that the environment and sustainability capital budget wouldn't cover, because from what my understanding would be, $21,000 wouldn't be enough to cover the fountain and all the associated costs with having the fountain installed. And as this is a very heavily trafficked area by residents and tourists, and with the recent John A. Controversy, it may be a good opportunity to rethink that area of the downtown.
Okay. So they don't have any funding for it, or?
So in an email, Dawn said she'd be willing to find some funds to contribute to the cause, but that's not like a commitment of anything. So I think if we're able to show that we are going forward with this, in the past, I think it was when Betty Pryor was coordinating with Dawn to go through this, but I think with her retirement, there was some lack of communication, and yeah, they just weren't sure with if the city was going to commit to it, so they stopped putting that funding within their budget. So I think if we were able to show that we were going to go through with this, I think we would be able to get some funding from them, but nothing has been confirmed as of yet.
Okay, so open it up to the floor. Any questions? Councilor Bernard?
So just what I'm reading here, it says DCI had approached the city of having the outdoor fountain installed, which they were willing to purchase the fountain. What you're saying now is you're not willing to purchase the fountain?
Yes, sorry, I should have clarified that. It was my understanding, I was talking with Scott, and he said that they were still willing to, but then when I reached out to Dawn, she clarified that they don't currently have that budget. So that's kind of just an update to the report there. I had already submitted it, and just kind of an error on my part.
Okay.
Well, just information you didn't have at the time, and kind of our understanding, like you said, when he wrote the report, was that they did and they were still interested in going forward with the project with us. I wanted to bring it forward to council at the councilor and council level because of that corner and the challenges we've recently experienced at that corner, and whether there's an interest in putting that in, or if we want to stay away from that corner, or just if you'd like to see us try and move forward with it. So we probably could find some money within our water conservation allocation within the utility budget to help move the project forward, so sustainability would have some money. Maybe Public Works could help with, it might be a bit of sidewalk work, and we might be able to come together with all three departments, finding money to do something at that corner if you'd be interested. Or maybe it's a corner you want to stay away from and we can do replanning. 'Cause in a few years, there'll be redevelopment of that area in cooperation with Province House, so that's another large capital project that's in the works. Just, we had been working with Downtown Charlottetown Inc. on that corner and looking at putting the fountain in. And we thought they were probably still interested, but now maybe they don't have that money. And just with the recent events in that area, we wanted council's input on whether or not you think you want to see something happen there, or is that a corner you want to stay away from for a little while?
Well, I guess for me, I'm not so sure it's a great place to put a fountain, to be honest with you, whether it's a controversial corner or not. I don't think that, to me, that doesn't really matter. I just don't know if that's the proper place to put a water fountain, of all things.
Yeah. You have any questions?
Well, there's already a fountain on the other end of Victoria Road.
Is there?
Well, there's where water comes up, Richard.
Yes, but not at this, so this is a drinking water
This
fountain.
is drinking.
It would be,
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking a drinking fountain.
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
So
So-
I thought you meant some kind of a.
No, so a drinking water fountain like we put in our parks, so like at Orla Bar Park, there's on top for humans, and you can fill your water bottle and then doggies.
I thought it was some kind of.
No, not an ornamental fountain.
That's what I thought, Richard.
I would think that you'd be more appropriate looking at one of the squares or stuff like that, where your water fountain go, not the corner.
We're gonna put one, say down Canal Square, maybe. That might be, if there's always a guy in there, families, children.
Well, it was all, there's any squares.
I think there's one there already.
Yeah, so I think that, I'm not really good with my square names, but we did put one in a square, was it Connaught Square down here? So Connaught Square does have one, Orla Bar Park has one, and we put one in at the, by the dog park.
Yes.
So those were three fountains that we put in a couple of years ago.
So why don't you just put it on ice for now?
Okay. That work?
So we don't really
Where's
have-
those other three water fountains that we're putting in?
Melcondera, the Hillsborough Community Center, and one's going in at the Winslow Soccer Complex. They have a building there, will be publicly accessible.
Where's the one going at Hillsborough Community Center?
I'm not sure, Stephen is, Public Works is coordinating that. I was just handling the procurement for the fountains.
So is this money coming from the water and sewer utility, or does it come from environment sustainability?
Environment and sustainability.
Okay.
Alice, can you earmark Desper State Park too, for future references? Because, we don't have any community centers in the downtown. Tried to get one, but anyway, we get something else in return.
Okay.
But Desper State Park, I think, would be, especially with community gardens. We have a community garden and we have a children's park. So I think that would be advantageous for that particular neighborhood. A lot of good work is taking place there. Sorry,
No
Bob.
problem. Did we approve a water at a school last year?
Yeah, a fountain, yes.
Where
Yeah.
was that at?
Thank you.
St. Jean?
Yeah, St. Jean might have been the most recent one.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'd all like a nice water fountain in parks. That'd be something that we could look at. That'd be great.
Yeah, no, I don't know, that kind of, I think we talked about it before, I don't know why we would put fountains in schools. I mean, that's school to pay for. Anyway, I think if we're looking at the city, we should be looking at parks or areas that's our responsibility, our jurisdiction.
Well, it's kind of a program that was started, I guess, 2 or 3 years ago, right, Richard?
Yes, a number of years ago.
Yeah, a number of years ago with the school, so it's kind of a partnership.
Well, it may start a couple of years ago, you did 2 schools, didn't you? South Park and 17.
We've done probably at Queen Street, probably half a dozen schools that we have provided a fountain, and they have also provided their own fountain.
One for what?
Yes. And then they also they cover the cost of installation with the plumbers.
I don't know. I don't know why, I don't know how it gets started with the school system, but, it is what it
Makes
is.
sense for city, but for now, we'll stay away from Richmond Street, Queen Street, and explore other opportunities.
Great idea, Richard.
Good, thank you. Good, Alistair?
We'll move on. Any questions on any of that stuff? No?
Awesome.
No, we're good? Okay, update on the East Royalty Lagoon, Richard.
Yep, so East Royalty Lagoon, I was there this morning, so they're probably 3/4 filled with it, and what we were looking at, meeting there with the Department of Environment to get permission to do work down by the water course, because we will be inside the buffer zone to remove some of the pipe work there. And I haven't had a chance yet to go back and talk to the manager of Parks and Rec, but when we were there, they talked about having an access point, and I mentioned that to the province as well while we were there, because they said if we did remove trees in that area, we'd have to replant trees, but I expressed that we might want to have a pathway down to the water. The city has the kind of the park infrastructure, and they said that if it was for the public benefit, and it is a nice view down there, there's a large number of ducks when we were down there, they said they'd be open to that. As long as we show that there would be public benefit, they'd be open to us leaving it as a grassed pathway down instead of trying to put the trees back in place that we removed.
We're talking about where the outfall was?
Yes, yeah. So I need to review that with Parks, but they said it seemed like we would get permission to do that, to have an access point there if that was what the city wanted to do with it. And then we're looking at, again, trying to bring the level up, and they are getting closer and closer with it. It will take them some time. There's still another quarter of it to be filled in, and it has slowed down a bit with the current construction, but Island Coastal assures me that they have the fill available to fill it in. It will take time over the summer.
Okay.
And just to give an idea, behind the lagoon is all filled with trees. The trees are 15, 20 feet high. There's probably a span of about here to Jill's office through the woods where you're at the water course. And that's where the outfall used to come. So the suggestion was to open that up and allow for the public to have some picnic tables or whatever down, you're down with the water, see the ducks and so on. And it is beautiful, it is a good idea. So, yeah. But it sounds like it'll be a while before they finish filling the lagoon.
Yes.
And that's gonna be something into the fall.
Hopefully not, and even this area we talked about it important to get it done in July and August, so the grass will have a chance to establish before winter.
So, Richard, the compost that's there,
Yes.
there's still 2 bags.
Two bags, yep, so we just put a letter into the province explaining that we'd like to mix that in the top 2 layers of material there so that there's fertilizer and great soil for the grass to grow for the next couple of years. So we need their permission to do that.
So, is it a big enough area for the 2 bags? I remember we were talking to concentration, I just wondered, because it would be good to, it would.
Yep, so that's the hope, that's what we've put to them, that we should be able to mix it in that top layer.
Okay.
It's at an application rate that would be greater than if we were going out onto agricultural land, because agricultural land, you'd be given permission to apply it every year. So we're looking to put a few years on at one time.
Yeah, and that's what I wonder, so, because you plan on doing both bags?
Yes.
In that area, so,
Well, really, I want permission, and then we'll start with one bag and just see practically how well it's mixing in and what it looks like. I don't want to leave something that is not going to work, but if we can get permission to get started on it and have a look at it. I mean, if we find that it's not mixing in well or it's difficult, then we'll look at another alternative. But it should mix in.
it should mix it, it just sounded like the concentration was really high. I mean, it's good stuff, I mean, you took some out, it's definitely good stuff. I wonder if there's other areas that can be used, because it's great for growth of grass.
Yes, no, it is. But so we are first is trying to use it there on site, because it will cost us to transport it if we can't use it on site.
So what would it be like on for example, sports fields?
I've wondered about that, even our own biosol, that if we dried it more, I think we could use it there as a topping.
So why couldn't we do that for the 3 soccer fields that are right next door there?
Yes. We'd want it to be dried more than it currently
But
is.
you're gonna have all summer at least.
Yeah. No, that could be something else we could explore and look at. But first is kind of trying to do it right there at the site to reduce any, even to the soccer fields, we would have to incur a transportation cost that I'm trying to avoid.
So, but you put some on the old landfill site last year,
Yes.
so you can't put any more there, that's filled. So-
No, it could probably take some more as well. But again, I'm gonna get charged to transport it, and I'm trying to avoid that transportation cost if we can. If we can make use of it there on the site, if it's gonna blend in and make a great topsoil, then that's our
No, I understand that, I'm just looking at it saying, we're right there and we're right here, and this could increase, because you often hear complaints about the soccer field, sport fields, grass doesn't grow good, it's not very good. So you have a material there that costs nothing, and you're going basically across the street.
Yeah,
So there should be
no.
a high cost, and the benefit of that would be for the sports fields, as opposed to going, you have more than you need in that one area.
No, it's true.
So
Just,
to me, it would make sense to spread it around and get the grass to grow everywhere, nice and rich, and that's good for the sport fields, that's good for the old landfill site, and that's good for the lagoon area.
yeah, no, again, we'll look at it. It is just, there will be a.
You're just really tight with the money because Peter's in the room,
No, it's,
right?
my
Peter, can you get
nature.
for a few minutes?
My nature and perhaps influenced by Peter. But yeah, our first goal, and then if we don't, then we'll explore alternatives.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, you're doing a good job, Richard. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Any other questions in regards to lagoon, anyone? No? All right, move on to the C there, the update on the fiber optic.
I think we hit that last time we met.
Yes.
For an
yeah.
hour.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, an hour and a half.
So we continue to make progress. It continues to be slow, and I need to continue to help the contractor understand the importance of moving forward. And I have a meeting with him at 1 o'clock today, and really maybe even impress upon him. Although he's struggled to find other people to hire, it is challenging finding employees, I understand, at this time. But we need him to make faster progress than he is making. I am told, we still keep hearing promises that within a couple of weeks we'll have fiber in the ground and some of that communication will begin, but it's been very slow. It is difficult, and he still has, I think, some of the most difficult locations yet to complete with the conduit.
Yeah, and, you know, when he was in giving the presentation, you know, we had some hope, but now nothing's moved, right? So I think it's out by our area, out by the airport, you see the big yellow or the orange tubing, and people are asking, you know, what are you doing? And
Yeah.
it's just like, well, we're waiting. And I could understand, he struggled through January and February, right? And I could understand, but now it's prime season for, if you're gonna dig, and, you know, what do we do as a utility if it doesn't get completed soon? Like, do we just allow them month to month, or?
Is there any penalties for the contract, the over the timeline?
There could be that we could start to impose.
Yeah, that's usually what we put in the contract, or we should be. Because someone come in, they give you this glorious story, and we don't live by it, and we just kind of, well, it's government, so. But that's, I know in Public Works, we started imposing penalties. The dates they give us, then here's the penalty. Paving was one of them, where you're beyond this date, so you impose the penalties. Unless they have a real good reason for it. It doesn't sound to me like there's a real good reason for this Wi-Fi.
No, I'll bring up the penalty at today's meeting with him.
But I do have one question on it.
Yep.
You're meeting with them at 1,
Yes.
and it may be fixed, I don't know, but I can tell you today is Thursday, so it would have been either Monday or Tuesday. So we laid the cable at night. So water utility was working on the water line on one side of the road, and Wi-Fi was putting a cable in on the other side of the road. The next morning when I was on my way to work, behind that kid dug up the Wi-Fi cable. It was snapped in two. And they dug it up right in front of where the retaining wall was before you turn into McCray Drive. And then when I come home from work, they were adding more fill on top to continue with the completion of the road.
Okay.
So they don't know the Wi-Fi is ripped. I don't know if they're going to be government's gonna allow them to dig into a brand new road they're getting ready to pave.
McRae Drive, okay, I'll let them know.
So just where the retaining wall was on St. Peter's Road before you turn into McCray Drive. Split into them. I hope that they would have called, but I mean, he was, I seen the cable cut and behind that kept on going, there was fill coming in behind it, so. I didn't stay around, but I'm sure they have a way to find out if the cable ripped or not, or see what was reported. Because I can still get at it right now. They'd have to
Okay,
dig
no,
down
no,
and put it in, but.
And I will make sure that they are aware, because it is probably still just the conduit, so there's no fiber optic cable in it yet.
It's just that orange cable.
Yep,
Yeah. Okay.
okay, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions, Councilor McKinney, Councilor Clear? No? All right. Back into the next issue there, Mr. McEwen. The odor from the pollution control plant.
Yes, so we have often experienced odor challenges at the wastewater treatment plant, and we are currently going through one now. We have, and it principally comes from our 2 gravity thickeners, and those are the 2 big tanks that are the first step in our solids management. So they are currently full of solids, which is mostly poo, human feces, so it does have an odor. We do tend to like to have a water blanket on top of that to keep the odor down, but our tank is full and we are working at removing that solid. We have some technology in place to try and help us thicken that material, but it is, I'm down there every day with them and we are trying to work through it. And it still is mostly water, even though we call it our solids, it's still around 96% water. And we're trying to go from it being 96% water to being 95% water. So from 4% solids to 5% solids. And it is difficult to make that little change, but that little change makes a big difference in our ability to manage the waste down there. So we're struggling through that. We're also adding another system that would allow us to give a little chlorine dose to that tank that can help to kill the bacteria that cause the odor, and that's part of the upgrade project that we're doing right now. That system will come online. We still have this problem with solids on top, and it'll be a challenge for us, probably even for that system. We do also, if something is taking place, we have an old home celebration, and there are lots of people down in that area. We also have a deodorizing. It's kind of spraying a nicer smelling mist, and it does a little bit of odor control, but we've used that in the past, and that's also available to us to try and manage the odors. But our number one task is to try and manage the solids. I've included a little spreadsheet for you to help understand where those solids come from at the back of the package. So this is data that we've gathered over the last couple of weeks. We are going through a challenge right now managing the solids that we're struggling with it, so we're really trying to study it and have a look at it. Right now, about 63% of the solid material that's coming to the plant is from Charlottetown, 10% from Stratford, and then 27% from our septage haulers. So through the winter, there's not as much septage, and then septage kind of peaks this time of year as everybody's having their septage, their sewer tanks, and they bring that to us.
So Richard, the 27% from septic haulers, are we hitting our targets for the revenue we expected?
Yes, so very much so. So on our septage haulers, in 2015 compared to 2020, we've seen a 50% increase in the amount of septage that is coming to the plant. So that's a significant increase, and I dug into it a little bit and talked to Summerside. Summerside is also experiencing a challenge managing their solids at this time. And something that I think has changed within the province is we used to recommend that you pump your septic tank every 5 years. Now we're recommending every 3 years, so that could result in an increase in what we're seeing at the plant.
Okay. And that's reflecting on your revenue sheet too?
Yes, so we do see more revenue from that.
Okay. Excellent, thank you.
So you're working on a system with the chlorine. That sounds something that,
Yep, so even then though, I think we should still have that water blanket on top to help us, but there's an upgrade there. We're bringing that in, so that'll give us the opportunity to try and kill the odor-causing bacteria in that tank, and it may help to control the odor. I mean, it's something that is used in other places, and we're installing that equipment now.
Yep, and when would you have that online?
It'll be another couple of months,
Okay,
but sometime this summer. So the rest of the capital work is progressing down there. Our third primary clarifier will come online probably in August. They're putting, the tank is completed, and now they're putting the equipment inside the tank. And then they'll do the installation of the pumps and the other electrical and mechanical over the next couple of months.
sounds like a positive step.
Yep.
But the odor and the solids, we do have some work there. It is a challenge that we are working through, and hopefully we can figure it out.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Councilor Twill?
Oh, we'll see how the next month goes.
You've been working on it, it could take 2 months or so, right, Richard?
Yes, yeah. Like, I'm down there with them every day, and we're doing our best to move it through the system. So all of that solid material, we need to put it through a heat exchanger, and the heat exchanger is kind of our bottleneck, how much we can get through that system. So we heat everything up to 70 degrees Celsius to kill all the organisms in it, so that we then produce that Class A biosolid material that can go out onto agricultural fields. So it's that heating up and putting it through that pasteurization system that is, that's what's causing us the challenge right now, is pushing it through there. As we bring that solid material up, like 4 and 5%, those changes make it a lot thicker and more difficult to pump and push through. Like the pipes that we put it through to heat it up are only this big, so as that becomes more and more of a more puddingy, the more difficult it is for us to push it through that system.
But the odor that we're smelling now, although not super strong, but it's not because of Stratford.
No, I mean,
They're only 10% of the total.
they are 10% of it, and we're still the biggest contributor to the odor down there. Other things we've looked at in the past is putting covers over these big tanks, and we didn't get past the capital cost of it in the past. I mean, if this continues to be a challenge for us and a challenge that we want to tackle, then it could be a capital expense.
Yeah, the odor in Stratford has been a lot stronger than with the wire plant.
I have, so they do have a little bit of sludge left in the bottom of their lagoons that they're looking to remove from their lagoons, and then their odor challenge should disappear.
Right. Okay. And the covers you're talking about, what type of covers are they made from?
It'd be like a dome we build over these tanks, and it's not ideal because we do work on them, we spray them. It would take a little bit for us to review, but it was reviewed about 10 years ago to put covers on our gravity thickeners.
Could you not have them something similar to the retractable?
Yeah, so we're putting something on our secondary clarifiers to keep the sunlight off them, and could look at that. And there are different options that we could explore if we're not able to get ahead with the odors, with these other systems that we're putting in place now. We still have opportunities to try and tackle this down the road.
Right on. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. No more questions on that?
Nope.
Ladies and gentlemen? Okay, we have move into a closed session there.
I don't
Is there anything on the agenda for close up, Bob?
I didn't think.
No, so we don't need to.
Nope, I don't think we need anything there.
Okay.
I'll put a motion for it to adjourn.
Mike Duffy will be up.
Now you got
Hey,
35.
it is what it is.
Well, thank you very much. Do we have
Thank you.
a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Councilor
Second it.
McCabe,
Yep.
second by Councilor Bernard.
Okay.
Thank you.